Who's heard of scoliosis? Just get a show of hands. So most people have heard of scoliosis. So let's start with the problem. What is scoliosis? Well, it's a curved spine and it occurs in children. The curve gets worse as the child grows, and it's a sideways curve, as you can see on the image there. And it can occur in children at any age, but it's most common in teenage girls, and we don't know why. So let's focus on the actual curve a little bit more. There's two types of curves. There's your progressive type curves, there's your stable curves. Your progressive curves are the ones that get bad quite quickly. Your stable curves are the ones that don't tend to do too much. So researchers have asked the question, if we can differentiate between the two curves, can that help improve treatment outcomes? That draws me to the next slide. It hasn't shown up too well here, but researchers investigated platelet calmodulin levels in teenage girls, so adolescent scoliosis, and first of all, calmodulin is a protein, it's found in blood. The scientists took a small blood sample from affected patients and they tested that blood for calmodulin in the lab. And what they found was the progressive type curves had very high levels of calmodulin and the stable curves had very low levels of calmodulin. And what that meant was that they could hypothesise that calmodulin levels could be used as a biomarker to predict which children needed surgery. So that's where my research comes in. I'm applying the very same principle, but I'm applying it to early onset scoliosis. So that's children under the age of about 2 or 3 years old. And, excuse me, early onset scoliosis is unique. It has your progressive curves, but it has resolving curves. So these curves get better on their own, and that's mostly the case. But for children who don't resolve, you can end up with a life-threatening deformity, and that's because of the way the scoliosis impacts on the lungs. So why is it important? Why is that important for us to know? Well, it's very important because if we get an early diagnosis of a progressive type curve, we can get that child into early treatment. And we already know that early treatment can cure a progressive curve. So the significance of my research is that it means the difference between a life-threatening and lifelong condition and the difference between a life free of deformity. And for some children, that can be the difference between life and death. Thank you very much.